Hey you guys, what's up? It's 54 here, and welcome to the 8th episode of Criterion Roulette. I know it has been almost a month since I've uploaded a video, but I'm finally back with another Criterion Roulette. I think it's been like 3 months since the last episode, and I really would have done another episode sooner, but the truth is, I got so many new Blu-rays for Christmas and even more new Blu-rays for my birthday, so I wanted to get all of those watched before I got any other criterions to do another Criterion Roulette, because I have a rule for myself where I don't buy any more Blu-rays until I've finished the ones I have in my stack. But yeah, so I finally decided to do another episode of Criterion Roulette. I'm very excited for this one. Now, if you've never seen an episode of Criterion Roulette, basically what I do is there are three Criterion films, one of which I choose for myself, one that a friend chooses for me, and then one that is chosen by putting all the spine numbers in a random number generator, and then I draw a number, and that's the one I choose. So this episode, I am going to start off with the one that I picked for myself, which is Menace to Society, released in 1993, directed by Alan Hughes and Albert Hughes. This is like one of the few, like, actually, I shouldn't say one of the few, because there's actually like a bit more that I keep forgetting. Like Poetic Justice is another that I haven't seen, but I was gonna say this is one of the hood classic movies that I haven't seen yet, actually, and I'm kind of mad at myself that I haven't seen this until now. But what's really great about this is one of Criterion's first ever 4K releases. I have one other 4K Criterion, which is Uncut Gems, and the transfer on that looked quite good, but because Uncut Gems is a very dark movie, like the color palette is very dark, like a lot of blacks and dark blues and like dark greens and grays, stuff like that. It's a bit harder to like fully see like the richness of the transfer, so hopefully I'll be able to see it, like the richness of the 4K, better in this transfer. But yeah, so I'm very excited to see how that'll be. But yeah, don't know too much about this. I read the plot on the back. It sounds like it's going to be a really good movie. Like as far as like hood movies go, I mean, Juice is really, really good. Like, Juice is a very good movie that just completely just turns into a different genre in the last third. Like Juice literally just turns into a straight up horror movie in the third act. It's very, very good, with an amazing, outstanding performance by Tupac, who I was actually reading on IMDb for this movie. Apparently, Tupac was supposed to be in this movie, but then he ended up getting into a physical fight with one of the directors, and I think he got arrested for it. So that's very interesting. Maybe the extras on this might talk about that a little further, but Juice is really good. Boys in the Hood I thought was quite good, but I really need to see that again for sure, because I feel like I didn't get everything I wanted out of it on a first viewing. What else? What else? I mean, another hood movie, Friday, is great. I mean, like that one's a comedy; it's not a drama. But there's another one of I guess you can call it a hood movie. I'm not entirely sure. I just know that it has rappers in it. Is the movie Belly I really want to see, with Nas and DMX, and I think Method Man is in that too, if I'm not mistaken. Um, yeah, really, I'm really excited to check out Belly at some point, but I'm very, very excited to check this out. As I said, I know what the plot is. I read it on the back. I don't think I knew that. I think I might have known, but I didn't really remember that Samuel L. Jackson is in this, apparently. But what's really cool is on this Criterion, one of the special features is they actually put the music video for Brenda's Got a Baby by Tupac in the special features on this Criterion, because I almost said the Allen brothers, the Hughes brothers directed that music video. And if you guys have never heard that song, Brenda's Got a Baby by Tupac, it's absolutely fucking heart-wrenching. It is a masterclass of songwriting and storytelling. It is beautiful. I've never seen the music video. Honestly, the song is sad enough, but the video will probably be so much more sad. But I'm excited to check out the video, for the first time on this Criterion. But yeah, so we're gonna take a look inside at what this one has, and then we're gonna pop it in and see how it is. All right, so inside the Menace to Society Criterion, this looks really, really amazing. Like, I love the use of like the bright red and the black. It's like, you see you got like that right there. Like the red looks so much brighter in real life than it does on camera, but like I just love how vibrant that is. But then like look at the inside there, like it's on the inside of the case, it's like the blood splatters like in the background of the two that looks really, really, really cool. Um, and then I took the discs out. I'll show you what they look like. It's the same disc design on both of them, but there's the Blu-rays on the top and the 4Ks underneath. But then that's the image on the inside. And then here's the booklet here. I've decided that I'm not gonna like open up the booklets because I mean, normally I assume like when you open up these booklets, they have like images from the movie in them, and I don't want to spoil the movie for myself or others because I think I've opened up the booklets in the past, and I don't think there's been like too many I don't think there's ever been a time where it's like where I've ended up like accidentally spoiling something for myself or others. Maybe I'm wrong, but just in case, I am going to from now on I'm not going to open these just to save the potential unpleasantness of spoilers. But yeah, so I'm excited to check this out. Let's pop it in and see how it is. Alright guys, so I just finished watching Menace to Society, and I'm I'm gonna try and get my thoughts out as best I can, but I feel like my mind has just been attacked by this movie. Like, so first of all, this has probably one of my favorite opening scenes to a film ever. It's like from the start, you know that this is gonna get very gritty and raw and real. And um, really great performances from was uh Tieran Turner and Lorenz Tate. They were fantastic in the movie. Like they were like really, really great, and a career best performance from Jada Pinkett Smith in this movie for sure. Um, yeah, and by the way, the 4K transfer on this from Criterion is beautiful. Like, see, this is what I mean by like sometimes like transfers really are everything. No, actually, no, not sometimes. Transfers are everything. I've always said my favorite Criterion transfer ever was the one for the Virgin Suicides Blu-ray. Because it's a Blu-ray, it's not a 4K disc, but it is a 4K transfer on that Blu-ray. It's so amazingly transferred that it's like it gives new meaning to watching the movie. Just so bright and you see everything. And this movie's exactly the same. The textures and the depth on everything is so rich. Like, I think part of the reason why this movie felt like such an attack on my mind is I literally felt like I was a fly on the wall for the conversations. Like this movie just like envelops you in it. It just like it puts you in these situations. You feel like you're a fly on the wall, or as if you're like dreaming this movie. Like you're sitting there watching it and you can't do anything but just watch. Like again, I'm trying to get my thoughts out as best I can, but like I literally just sat throughout all of the ending credits, just not really able to move or speak. Like, because here's the thing. I do have some issues with the movie. I think my main issue with it was the editing. Um, it was like, it does like a little bit of like, it does like these like kind of fades that kind of like if you're gonna do a fade, that's fine. Like I used to really, really hate fades in movies, but I've like grown to be fine with them now. But if you're gonna do a fade, do it like as a good transition or when the scene's at a good place to end. Here, more than once, they like ended it when they shouldn't have, and it's like no, why would you end it there? Like I want to see more. Like the scene's like kind of just getting started, and they're already ending it there. Um, in some scenes, it can work to their favor, like especially during the ending. The ending to this movie hits hard, really hard, and like the thing is like one of my other issues with the movie was, um, sometimes its tone wasn't always consistent, but then again, it also kind of makes the more, like dramatic and like really intense parts better because once the intense parts happen, you're like, oh shit, and you're like really like, and you're like, oh my god, like what is happening right now? Um, so it does kind of work, but at the same time, I do really wish that what they had done was like have a bit more of like an anxious feeling or yeah, that's the best way I can describe it, I think, is I wish it had a bit more of an anxious feeling because, in some parts you definitely feel that, but it doesn't keep that all throughout. There's some movies that do that really, really well and do it all throughout. I wish that this movie could have done that. I mean, maybe on a second viewing I might get that, but who knows? But even though I thought it had some like tonal problems, the real winning things here is the directing, which is fantastic, the performances, which are great. As I said, the directing's like it really makes you feel like you're a fly on the wall for these conversations. Like the conversations and the um like the things that happen to the characters in the movie, you really feel like you're there. And that's one of the great things I've found with 4K is like 4K like can really truly make you feel like you're there. Like if the transfer's done right, take notes, Universal. Um, but and as I said, this is one of those movies. Like I saw, there's a list on Letterboxd that says movies you initially thought were okay, but then hit you so damn hard at the end. This is almost one of those ones for me. I'm trying to think of what I would rate it. Maybe I need to like give this some thought. Like maybe I need to sleep on it. I think I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. This is a very well done movie. That's the thing with as I said, the tonal issues are kind of bugging me a bit, but just the undeniable skill that's on display here from so many different areas, the way it like really does envelop you, and just how the ending like really hits hard. It makes it like it just makes it that much better. And hopefully a second viewing I can maybe even see this with like maybe like through a different lens, and maybe because I've said so many times before that usually like if I see a movie a second time, typically I enjoy it even more because I already know what to expect, and I'm like, oh, okay, so this is the mindset I know I'm gonna be in, and because I already know what to expect. um Hopefully like this part of the video makes sense. As I said, this movie just kind of made me a little bit like lost for thoughts, but yeah, really, really liked this, and I cannot wait to show this to friends. Like, like Nathan, I'm gonna want to show this to you at some point. Like, this is definitely a movie I think you should see. Um, but yeah, so that's the first film for this episode of Criterion Roulette. I'm not sure if I'll end up watching the second film tomorrow or not. I might. But I'll see you in a couple seconds when I will be talking about watching and talking about the second film for this episode. Alright guys, so it is now a couple days after I first watched Menace to Society, and I'm now going to be continuing with the second film for this episode of Criterion Roulette. This is the one that my friend Chris chose for me, and that is Police Story, released in 1985, directed by Jackie Chan. Um, and this is Police Story 1 and 2 in here, but I'm just going to be doing the first one for the episode. I am going to watch Police Story 2 on my own time eventually. But I'm only doing the first one for this episode. And I don't know if Police Story was Jackie Chan's first film or not. Because I mean, I only know of him from like the movies he's done in America, like Rush Hour, Spy Next Door, Skip Trace, the one he did with Johnny Knoxville, and a few others. But it says this was in 1985, so I wouldn't be surprised if this was his first. I don't know too much about either of these. It says on the back that these are like that they are actually action comedies, so they're not just straight up action movies, and they're both spoken in Cantonese, so they're both foreign language. But I'm pretty excited to check these out because I've never actually seen. I don't know if I've ever actually seen a comedy or at least an action comedy that's in a foreign language before. I really can't think of any like movies I've seen that are comedies that are foreign language because I've seen quite a few dramas that are foreign language, and I've seen like some foreign horror films, but never any comedies and maybe like one or two action films. Like I've seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but that's like more of a drama slash kung fu movie. It doesn't really rely heavy on action from what I remember, but yeah, I'm very excited to check this out. So I am going to throw you over to Chris if I can actually get a video clip out of him because Chris is extremely busy right now with work and school and all that. So if I get a video clip from him explaining why he picked it, I will throw that on right now, and then we're going to take a look in this and see what's in here, and then we're going to pop it in and see how it is. All right, Chris, so thank you for that clip, or not thank you at all, depending on if you actually sent it to me or not. Or maybe thank you anyway, depending on how good this movie is. But this is a very interesting Criterion package. So, like, there's the front and there's the back. But what's really interesting is that this doesn't actually have like it's not like a normal slipcase where it has like an end on here that like holds it in. This is actually like the slipcase for it is actually hollow. So as you can see right there, it can just like slide over either way. But there's it's very interesting because it says like the first police story right here, and then there's like another poster for it like on the other side for the second one, and then on the inside here, two discs. There's the first one there and the second one there, and then I took this out so I could show it off. There's a poster right here that looks really really cool, and on the other side of it is an essay, like the standard essay that Criterion always puts in their packages. But yeah, so I am very excited to check this out. I hope it'll be really good, but yeah, let's pop this in and see how it is. Alright guys, so it is now the next day after I finished watching Police Story. By the time I had finished it, I was really tired and just wanted to go to sleep, so I didn't record the clip, so that's why I waited till the next day. But I gotta say, I loved this film. Like, Jackie Chan is a fucking madman. Like, from an acting, writing, and directing standpoint, he was beyond phenomenal. And the choreography in this is just insane. Like, there's so much stuff he does in this movie that I'm like, how is that literally even possible? Like, I didn't even know you could like possibly do that. Like, it's such an entertaining movie all throughout. Just great action scenes, as I've just said, just incredibly well directed. Like, this really does have some of the best direction I've ever seen in a film. Like, it's nuts. It's also pretty funny too. Like, I was laughing quite hard at quite a few scenes in this movie because Kakoi, who's his character in the movie, he cannot seem to catch a break. there's like so much stuff that like happens. Like, the fight scenes are really cool, and some of the stuff that happens and that's pretty funny. But really, it's the stuff that happens in his personal life that is, with like the other people in his life, that's just so funny because he just seems to have really bad luck with like certain people, like being like having like things happen where it's like it's not what it looks like, but to the other person it does look like that, and it keeps on happening. It's just really really funny and all around great movie. I cannot wait to watch the second one. Jackie Chan also directed the second one, and I actually found out last night that they apparently there was like a lot of Police Story sequels, and Jackie Chan was in every single one of them. He actually played different characters, which was kind of weird. Because even with Police Story 3, I don't remember if that was the real title or not, but it was the third Police Story film. He was still in it, and even that he played a different character in it. And what's even crazier is that I think every Police Story film, like even including the one that was just released in 2017, has at least okay reviews. Like according to Letterboxd, because the most recent one I think has like a 2.7 out of 5 on Letterboxd, but all the others are like they have good ratings, which really surprised me because normally if you do like a franchise and you have it keep on going, like it had its you know big peak in the 80s and then it just keeps going. Normally the ratings like really really slip and people like really don't like them, but overall people really did. So I'm definitely going to be excited to check out the rest of the Police Story movies because those good ratings have me a lot more confident in them, and also with Jackie Chan still returning for them, that's really great to see. Um, but yeah, so Police Story, great movie. Highly recommend you guys pick this up. I'm very interested to see how Police Story 2 will end up being. I will see you guys. I don't know when I'm gonna do the third film. I might do it later tonight. I don't know. I might end up doing it tomorrow. I'm not too sure, but you guys will see it in a couple seconds anyway, so see you soon. Alright guys, so it is now time for the third and final film for this episode of Criterion Roulette. This is the random spine number one. I ended up drawing spine number 809, which is Phoenix, released in 2014, directed by Christian Petzold. I looked up the story of this movie, and it sounds very, very interesting. It's basically about a woman who's like a Holocaust survivor, like she survived Auschwitz, but her face is like very like disfigured, so she goes and has her face reconstructed, and then she goes back to her home city because she's trying to seek out her husband, who may or may not have been the one who betrayed her to the Nazis. So after hearing that, I thought this sounds like a very, very interesting movie. It's a German movie. Very, very excited to check it out. The story sounds very, very interesting. I never heard of this until I had, was looking for it for Criterion Roulette, and it's kind of recent. Like, it says it's from 2014, so I'm a bit surprised that it didn't at least come on my radar at around that time, because I feel like at the very least I would have at least heard a little bit of this film when it first came out, even though I wasn't really like I didn't like start really, really getting into film until 2016, but normally with like Oscar season and stuff, normally foreign films would have come up on my radar then, but I'd never actually heard of this until I was doing it for the Criterion Roulette. But yeah, so let's take a look at what's inside here, and then we're gonna pop it in and see how it is. All right, so here's the front of it and the back, and then on the inside. Nothing like too fancy, but I do like the smoke design on the disc, just like a bit of a black there, and then the little pamphlet, which is red, and then it's got a nice image in the back there. But yeah, I'm excited to check this out, so let's pop it in and see how it is. Alright, you guys, so I just finished watching Phoenix, and I thought it was okay. I thought it looked absolutely beautiful, like the cinematography and just like the shot composition and like the color palette was really really good. Like it was very pleasing to the eye. Nina Hoss was excellent in the movie. Like she was great. And I really loved the score. There was like a the score at times kind of reminded me of like a murder mystery video game, actually, kind of like a Clue or like Agatha Christie type like murder mystery game. It reminded me of that, the score. Um, but if I'm being honest, this film reminded me a lot of the movie Matthias and Maxime in the sense that both films have an incredibly interesting story at their hands that they can do a lot with that they just don't really like. I mean, I will say, like, maybe it's the fact that this ended up going a lot differently than I thought it was going to, and maybe just the shock of that maybe, like, kind of twisted my opinion a bit. But yeah, I just thought that the story of this could have been done a lot better. Um, and there was also like, the events that happened could have also been a bit more interesting. Um, but it's definitely not a bad movie. As I said, it's shot beautifully. Nina Hoss is excellent, and the score is great. Um, and it's not boring to watch. Like it's something that you're not gonna like sit there and be like, oh God, when's this gonna end? It's another thing. Like it's another thing like similar to Matthias and Maxime because I said in terms of like how they execute their stories is kind of similar, but also the sense that normally a lot of the stuff that's on screen is it's not hugely interesting, but you're still entertained by it because like when I put my review of Matthias and Maxime on Letterboxd, I had said something like if Xavier Dolan wasn't as good of a director as he is, this movie would have sucked. And it would have sucked hard. But somehow, because he's that good of a director, somehow the movie still ends up being entertaining, even though a lot of it is just filler. And I don't really think there's stuff in this movie that's necessarily filler. It's just that I think that, it just could have been a bit more interesting, but even though it wasn't as interesting as it could be, those scenes were still entertaining to watch, and I guess you can just chalk that up to good direction. But yeah, not too bad of a film. It was just okay. I would give this probably a 3 out of 5. I am wanting to revisit this down the road, possibly. Hopefully I might like it more. But anyway, guys, that is the end of the 8th episode for Criterion Roulette. We didn't end the episode on a fantastic note, but the first two films in the episode were great. So, the fact that I have that is, that's good enough, that the first two films in the episode ended up being as good as they are. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you really enjoyed it. Subscribe for more content. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. And remember, you guys, whenever performing things that are literally impossible, say no to drugs.